Hello, everyone. Welcome back to English in Advance. I am your host, Jessica, and I am so happy you have decided to join me today for another deep dive into mastering the English language. Today, we are going to tackle one of the biggest challenges that intermediate learners face, and that is the pressure of speed. We have all been there. Someone asks you a question in English, and you freeze. You know the words and you know the grammar, but your brain just stops working for a few seconds. You might feel panicked or embarrassed because you think you are taking too long to answer. You might find yourself translating from your native language in your head, and by the time you are ready to speak, the conversation has already moved on. If this sounds familiar, then this episode is exactly what you need because today we are going to learn how to respond quickly in English. We are going to move away from translation and focus on reacting naturally. We are going to practice real conversation techniques that native speakers use all the time to keep the flow going, even when they are thinking about what to say next. By the end of this session, you will have a huge toolkit of strategies to help you sound more fluent and feel more confident in spontaneous conversations. Now let us talk about why responding quickly is so difficult. Usually it is not because you do not know enough English. Often the problem is that you are trying to be perfect. You are trying to construct a grammatically perfect sentence in your head before you open your mouth. Real conversation does not work like that. Real conversation is messy and fast and fluid. Native speakers do not speak in perfect textbook sentences all the time. They use shortcuts, and they use filler words, and they use set phrases. To respond quickly, you need to stop thinking like a writer and start thinking like a speaker. A writer has time to edit and correct, but a speaker needs to connect. One of the best ways to bridge the gap between thinking and speaking is to use what we call hesitation devices or fillers. These are small words or phrases that do not really have a deep meaning, but they signal to the listener that you are preparing to speak. They buy you time. Instead of standing there in silence while you search for a word, you can use a sound or a phrase to hold your turn in the conversation. Let us imagine a situation where someone asks you a difficult question. Maybe a colleague asks you what you think about a new project proposal. Instead of staring at them silently while you think you can start immediately with a filler phrase, you could say, well, that is an interesting question. Let me think about that for a second. Notice what happened there. You did not give an answer yet, but you responded instantly. You filled the silence with natural English sounds. This makes you sound fluent even though you have not actually answered the question yet. It relieves the pressure. You have bought yourself 3 or 4 seconds to organize your thoughts. Common fillers include words like well or actually, or let me see. Using these naturally can transform your speaking style. For example, if someone asks you, "What did you do last weekend?" and you cannot remember immediately, do not just stay silent. You can say, "Let me see, what did I do?" by repeating the question to yourself and using the phrase, "Let me see." You keep the conversation alive. Another powerful technique for responding quickly is echoing. Echoing means repeating part of the question or the statement that was just made to you. This serves 2 purposes. First, it confirms that you understood what the person said. Second, it gives your brain a moment to formulate your own sentence. If someone asks you, "Are you planning to go to the conference next month?" you can start your answer by echoing the verb or the subject. You can say, "Go to the conference." "Well, I am not sure yet." By saying go to the conference, you are using the vocabulary the other person just gave you. You do not have to search for new words. You are just borrowing theirs. This is a very common habit among native speakers. It creates a nice rhythm in the conversation. Let us practice this. Imagine I ask you, have you ever tried Japanese food? You can respond by echoing tried Japanese food. Yes, I have. Actually, I love sushi. See how smooth that sounds. It is much better than a long pause followed by a simple yes. We also need to talk about fixed phrases. Fixed phrases are chunks of language that you learn as a whole unit. You do not analyze the grammar of these phrases, you just use them automatically. Think of them like buttons on a soundboard. When you need to agree, you press the agree button. When you need to disagree, you press the disagree button. You do not have to build the sentence from scratch every time. For example, if you want to agree with someone quickly, you should have 3 or 4 phrases ready to go instantly. You can say exactly, or I totally agree, or that is a great point. If you have these memorized as chunks, you can fire them back immediately without thinking. If you need to show surprise, you can say, no way, or are you serious, or you must be joking. Learning these reaction phrases is one of the fastest ways to improve your response time. It makes you an active participant in the conversation. Even if you do not have a long opinion to add, just using a reaction phrase keeps the energy up. Let us try to put this into a longer context. Imagine you are at a coffee shop meeting a friend. The friend starts telling you about a bad day they had at work. They say, my boss was so angry today because I missed a deadline. Your job is to respond quickly to show empathy. You do not need to give a long speech. You can use a fixed phrase like, oh no, that sounds terrible, or oh dear, what happened? These short emotional responses are crucial. They show you are listening. If you wait too long to respond, it might seem like you do not care. Speed is important here because it shows emotional connection. If your friend says, I lost my wallet, you need to react instantly. You cannot pause for 5 seconds to translate the grammar of a sympathy sentence. You just need to say, oh, that is awful. Now I want to go deeper into the concept of predicting. To respond quickly, you need to be an active listener, not a passive one. A passive listener waits until the sentence is finished and then starts processing the meaning. An active listener is predicting where the sentence is going before it even ends. When you are listening to someone try to anticipate their next word or their main point. If someone says, I went to the store to buy some bread, but as soon as you hear the word, but you know a problem is coming, you can get your reaction ready. You know they are going to say there was no bread or they forgot their money. Being mentally prepared for the turn in the conversation helps you respond faster. It is like playing tennis. You do not wait until the ball bounces to decide where to move. You watch the other player and move before the ball arrives. Conversation is exactly the same. You need to read the room and read the tone. Let us practice a specific scenario involving making plans. This is a very common topic for B1 and B2 learners. Imagine someone asks you, are you free this Friday evening? A slow response happens when you mentally check your calendar and translate your schedule. A fast response uses a placeholder. You can say Friday evening, let me check. Or you can say, I think so, why, what is happening? Notice the structure there. You give a tentative answer, I think so, and then you immediately throw the ball back to them with a question, why, what is happening? This keeps the interaction dynamic. It stops you from being the only one under pressure. Asking questions back is a great strategy for speed. If you are stuck, ask a question. If someone asks you a difficult question like, "What do you think about the economic situation?" instead of panicking, you can ask, "What do you mean exactly?" Or you can say, "That is a big topic. What do you think?" Turning the question around is a perfectly valid conversational strategy. It gives you time to breathe and listen to their opinion, which might give you ideas for your own answer. I want to address the fear of making mistakes because this is usually the root cause of slow responses. You hesitate because you are afraid of using the wrong preposition or the wrong verb tense. But here is the secret. In spoken English, accuracy is less important than fluency and connection. If you say "I go to cinema yesterday" instead of "I went to the cinema yesterday," people will still understand you. The conversation will continue. But if you sit there for 10 seconds of silence, trying to remember the irregular past tense of go, the conversation dies. The connection is broken. Prioritize the flow. Once you start speaking, you can always correct yourself. You can say, "I go to the cinema," well, actually, "I went to the cinema yesterday." Self-correction is natural. Native speakers do it all the time. Do not let the fear of a grammar mistake silence you. Speed comes from confidence, and confidence comes from accepting that you will make mistakes and that it is okay. Let us look at another technique called the general to specific method. Sometimes we respond slowly because we are trying to find the specific word for something. Maybe you want to talk about a specific type of flower, but you cannot remember the name rose or tulip. Instead of freezing, use a general word. Say flower or plant or thing. You can say, "I bought this beautiful flower for my garden." You do not need the specific name to keep the conversation moving. You can describe it later. You can say it is red and has thorns. Using general words allows you to bypass vocabulary blocks. This is a vital skill for responding quickly. Do not get stuck on one missing word. Go around it. Use a synonym or a description or a general category. If you forget the word for stapler, you can say, "Can you pass me that thing for connecting papers?" That is a quick response. Standing there silently trying to remember the word stapler is a slow response. Now let us integrate some more examples of how to handle opinions. Giving an opinion quickly can be tough. If someone asks, "Do you like living in the city?" you might have complex feelings. Maybe you like the convenience, but you hate the noise. To respond quickly, start with a summary word. You can say, "Well, it is a mix," or you can say, "It depends." Starting with "it depends" is a magic key. It immediately answers the question and gives you permission to explain the two sides of your argument. You can say, "It depends. I love the shops, but I hate the traffic." This structure is very easy to use. It depends followed by one positive thing and one negative thing. This structure saves you from having to construct a complicated thesis statement. You just break it down into simple parts. Another good starter for opinions is honestly. If someone asks, "Do you like this movie?" you can start with honestly. "Honestly, I was a bit bored." The word honestly signals that you are about to give your real feeling and it gets you started. Let us focus on the rhythm of English. English is a stress-timed language. This means some syllables are longer and louder, and others are short and quiet. When you are trying to respond quickly, it helps to focus on the stress words, the important words that carry the meaning, nouns, verbs, adjectives. Do not worry too much about the small grammar words like in or on or the or a. If you speak quickly and you swallow a preposition, it is usually fine. Focus on getting the main idea out. For example, if you want to say, I am going to the store to buy milk, you can focus on going store, buy milk. If you say I going store buy milk in a fast conversation, it might sound a bit broken, but the message is instant and clear. Of course, we want to aim for correct grammar, but when speed is the priority, focus on the content words. This helps you process faster because you are stripping away the unnecessary noise. I also want to encourage you to practice shadowing. Shadowing is where you listen to a recording of a native speaker and you speak along with them at the same time. This helps you internalize the speed and the rhythm of the language. When you shadow, you stop thinking about individual words and you start feeling the flow of the phrases. This muscle memory is essential for responding quickly. If your mouth is used to moving at a certain speed, your brain will learn to keep up. Try shadowing short dialogues. Listen to how the speakers jump in and out of the conversation. Notice how they interrupt each other or finish each other's sentences. Real conversation is overlapping. It is not always polite turn-taking. Sometimes you have to jump in. Learning to interrupt politely is another skill for speed. You can say sorry to interrupt, or can I just add something here? These phrases let you enter a fast-moving conversation without seeming rude. Let us do a little visualization exercise. I want you to close your eyes if you are safe to do so. Imagine you are at a dinner party with English speakers. The conversation is moving fast. They are talking about travel. Someone looks at you and says, "What is the best place you have ever visited?" Feel that moment of adrenaline. Now, instead of looking for the perfect grammar, take a deep breath. Smile. Use a filler. Say, "Wow, that is a tough one." Now, echo. The best place. Then give your answer. I think I would have to say, Italy. Then give a simple reason. The food was amazing. Put it all together. Wow, that is a tough one. The best place. I think I would have to say Italy because the food was amazing. That response is natural, fast, and friendly. It is not an academic essay. It is a human connection. We establish that speed is about connection, not perfection. But now I want to talk about the physical mechanics of speaking fast, because sometimes your brain is ready, but your mouth is not. You might know what you want to say, but the words get tangled up on your tongue. This is a physical coordination issue. Just like a pianist practices scales to make their fingers move faster, you need to practice mouth gymnastics. One of the biggest barriers to speed for B1 and B2 learners is trying to pronounce every single letter. In real fast English, we do not do that. We connect words. We drop sounds. We blend sounds together. Let us look at the concept of linking. When a word ends in a consonant sound and the next word starts with a vowel sound, we join them together as if they are one word. For example, take the phrase, respond immediately. If you say respond immediately with a pause in the middle, it takes time and effort. But if you say respond immediately linking the D to the I, it flows much faster. Try saying it. Respond immediately. It sounds like one long word. This happens constantly. Look at is it. We do not say is it. We say is it. When you link words, your speech engine runs smoother. You are not starting and stopping the car constantly. You are cruising on the highway. This physically allows you to speak faster because you are making fewer muscle movements. If someone asks you, hold on a minute, and you want to say not at all, you do not say not at all. You say not at all. The T becomes a soft D sound in American English and links to the A, not at all. Mastering these links will shave milliseconds off your response time, which adds up to a much more fluent-sounding rhythm. We also need to talk about reductions. You have probably heard of wanna and gonna. These are not just slang for teenagers. These are essential tools for speed in spoken English. Gonna takes a long time to say. Gonna is fast. Want to is clunky. Wanna is smooth. If you are trying to respond quickly to a question like, "What are you doing tonight?" saying, "I am gonna watch a movie" takes a lot of effort. Saying, "I am gonna watch a movie" is instant. Native speakers use these reductions to compress the grammar parts of the sentence so they can get to the meaning faster. Other common reductions include hafta for have to and gotta for got to. If you need to leave quickly, say "I gotta go." It is punchy. It is immediate. Using the full form "I have gotta go" sounds formal and slow. By adopting these reductions, you are not being lazy. You are being efficient. You are prioritizing the flow of information. Now let us shift gears to the psychology of the empty mind. We have all experienced that terrifying moment where your mind goes completely blank. It is like a white wall. No words, no thoughts, just panic. This usually happens because you are overwhelmed by the scope of the question. If someone asks, "Tell me about your life story," your brain freezes because the file is too big to load. The trick here is to narrow the scope immediately. Do not try to answer the whole question. Pick one tiny fragment. If asked about your life story, just pick where you were born. Start there. Say, "Well, I was born in a small town." Once you say that one sentence, the next one will follow. Do not try to see the whole staircase, just take the first step. By narrowing the focus, you unblock the jam. If someone asks, "How was your holiday?" and your mind goes blank, just pick one thing. The food. Say the food was great. You do not need to summarize the whole week immediately. Just grab the first distinct memory that floats to the surface and vocalize it. Let us practice a specific technique called looping. Looping is when you use the end of your own sentence to start the next one. This helps you keep speaking without stopping to think of a new idea. It creates a continuous chain. For example, imagine you are talking about your job. You say, "I work as a teacher." Then you take the word "teacher" to start the next sentence. Being a teacher is challenging. Then you take the word "challenging." The challenge is what I like about it. Then you take I like helping students. Then students. The students are very creative. Do you see the pattern? You are using the last idea as the springboard for the next. This prevents you from getting stuck because the next topic is always right there in your mouth. This technique is incredible for improvisation. It allows you to respond at length without a script. You are just following the word association chain. Now I want to address a very specific high-pressure situation, which is the job interview. Responding quickly in a job interview is critical because it shows confidence and competence. However, you also need to be careful not to ramble. The strategy here is the STAR method, which you might know: situation, task, action, result, but adapted for speed. When they ask, "Tell us about a time you solved a problem," do not sit in silence. Immediately acknowledge the question with a phrase. Like, "That is a great question. I can think of a specific example from my last job." While you are saying that generic sentence, your brain is retrieving the file. Then dive straight into the situation. Do not give too much background. Just say, "We had an angry client." That is the situation. Then the action. "I listened to him and offered a refund." Then the result. "He was happy and stayed with the company." Keep it punchy. Speed in an interview comes from structure. If you have a structure, you do not get lost. You can respond quickly because you know exactly which boxes you need to tick. Let us talk about the art of disagreeing quickly. Disagreement requires quick reflexes because if you wait too long, the moment passes and the other person thinks you agree. But disagreeing can feel rude, so we hesitate. We need softener phrases that we can fire off instantly. Phrases like, I see your point, but, or I am not so sure about that, or actually I have a different take. Memorize these. If someone says this project is a disaster, you can instantly say, I see your point, but I think we can save it. You acknowledge them and pivot it immediately. You did not have to think about how to be polite because the phrase, I see your point, but did the work for you. Another fast way to disagree is to use the yes and no technique. Someone asks, is this a good idea? You say yes and no. It is a very fast response. It buys you time to explain the nuance. Yes, it is cheap, but no, it is not good quality. Starting with yes and no is a great way to hold the floor while you organize your complex thoughts. We also need to consider the role of intonation in speed. Sometimes you can respond without even using words just by using sound and intonation. A sharp intake of breath can signal surprise. A low can signal doubt. A bright ah can signal understanding. These are valid conversational turns. If someone is telling you a story and they reveal a shocking twist, you can just say wow with a falling intonation. That counts as a response. It encourages them to continue. You do not always need to generate a full sentence to be a fast responder. Being responsive is about the energy you give back. If you are nodding and making these listening sounds, the speaker feels you are right there with them. This takes the pressure off you to produce complex grammar every 2 seconds. Let us move to a fun exercise called the Devil's Advocate. This is a practice you can do with a study partner or even alone. The goal is to contradict everything instantly. If your partner says it is hot today, you immediately say, no, it is freezing. If they say, I love pizza, you say, really, I hate it. The point of this exercise is not to be annoying, but to train your brain to flip the logic switch instantly. Often we are slow because we are checking if our opinion is valid. In this exercise, you do not care about truth, you only care about speed. You are training the reflex of opposition. Once you get comfortable with this rapid-fire negation, you will find it much easier to express your real opinions in actual conversation because the neural pathways for responding are already warmed up. Now let us discuss the answer plus question technique for keeping the ball moving. In tennis, if you catch the ball and hold it, the game stops. You have to hit it back. In conversation, if you just answer, the game stops. You need to hit it back. If someone asks, how are you, and you say, I am fine, the game stops. It is awkward. A fast responder says, I am fine, thanks, how are you? It is one breath. Answer plus question. Practice this linkage. What did you do this weekend? I went hiking. Did you do anything fun? It should be automatic. The question at the end is the engine of the conversation. If you want to be a great conversationalist who seems to respond effortlessly, make it a habit to always end your turn with a tag question. It could be simple, like and you, or what about you, or do you agree? This takes the spotlight off you, which is great if you are feeling nervous. Let us look at handling interruptions. In a fast group conversation, sometimes people will interrupt you. This can be jarring and make you lose your train of thought. You need a strategy to handle this quickly. You can either yield the floor or hold the floor. To yield quickly, just stop and say, go ahead. To hold the floor, you need to increase your volume slightly and use a phrase like, "Just a second, let me finish." Speed is important here. If you hesitate when interrupted, you lose your turn. You have to be assertive. Practice the phrase, "Hang on, I am not done yet." Say it with a smile, but say it firmly. This signals to the group that you are still active. It is a power move, but a necessary one in lively debates or busy social settings. Let us simulate a social gathering. Imagine you're at a party standing with a drink. A stranger approaches you. They say, "Hi, I do not think we have met. I am Tom." Your response needs to be instant. "Hi, Tom, I am Jessica. Nice to meet you." Do not pause. Then they say, "How do you know the host?" You need a pre-prepared answer for this common question. "I work with him," or "We are old friends." Then immediately ask in you. The key to social speed is having these small talk scripts ready. You know people will ask your name, your job, and how you know the host. Do not treat these as surprise questions. Treat them as a script you have already learned. When you have these basics on autopilot, your brain is free to focus on the more interesting parts of the conversation that come later. Another barrier to speed is the perfectionist filter. This is a little voice in your head that checks everything before you say it. It says, "Wait, is that the right preposition? Wait, is that the right accent?" You need to turn that volume down. One way to do this is to practice bad English intentionally. I know this sounds crazy for a learning channel, but hear me out. Spend 5 minutes speaking as fast as you can without caring about grammar. Say, "I go store yesterday, buy food good." Just get the meaning out. This liberates you. It shows you that communication is still possible even without perfection. Once you realize the world does not end when you make a mistake, you will naturally speed up. You will stop self-censor. You will start trusting your instinct. The goal is not to speak bad English forever, but to break the paralysis of perfectionism. Let us talk about vocabulary retrieval. Sometimes the word is on the tip of your tongue, but it will not come out. This is called the tip of the tongue phenomenon. The worst thing you can do is freeze and wait for it. The fast response strategy is to use a definition instead of the word. If you forget the word for umbrella, say the thing for the rain. If you forget the word for dentist, say the tooth doctor. This is called circumlocution. It is a vital skill for B1 and B2 learners. It keeps the conversation flowing. You can even say, "I forgot the word," but you know the thing for the rain. The listener will usually jump in and say, "Oh, umbrella," and you say, "Yes, exactly." This interaction is fast and cooperative. It is much better than 5 seconds of painful silence. Practice describing things without naming them. It is a great game. How do you describe a refrigerator without saying refrigerator? The cold box for food in the kitchen. Boom, you are communicating. We should also touch on the power of anecdotes. An anecdote is a very short story, usually funny or interesting, that you have told many times. Fast responders often have a collection of 3 or 4 anecdotes ready to go. Maybe a story about a travel mishap or a funny thing your pet did. When the conversation touches on travel, you do not have to create a new story from scratch. You just pull up your lost luggage story file. Because you have told it before, you can speak it quickly and fluently. You know where the laughs are. You know the vocabulary. Building this anecdote bank gives you islands of fluency in the ocean of conversation. You can swim from one island to the next. Let us deepen the concept of active listening for speed. Active listening means showing you are listening with your face and your body. If you are leaning forward and smiling, your brain is primed to respond. If you are leaning back and looking at your phone, your brain is disengaged. Speed is physical. Try this experiment. Stand up and pace around the room while you practice speaking English. Notice how the physical movement generates energy in your voice. Now sit on a comfortable sofa and try to speak. You might find you are slower. In a conversation, try to match the energy of the speaker. If they are excited and speaking fast, try to match that tempo. If they are serious and slow, match that. Mirroring creates connection and makes your responses feel more timely. Now, I want to give you a drill for question anticipation. I am going to make a statement and I want you to guess what question I'm going to ask next. If I say, I am really hungry, you can probably guess I will ask, do you want to get some food? If I say it is getting really late, you can guess I will ask, should we go home? If I say I have never seen that movie, you can guess I will ask, is it good? By anticipating the question, you are already formulating the answer before the question is even asked. This is how native speakers seem to read minds. They are just using context clues to predict the flow. Try to do this when watching TV. Pause the show after a character makes a statement and guess what the other character will ask. It is a fantastic workout for your conversational intuition. Let us discuss the summary response. Sometimes someone talks for a long time and gives you a lot of information. Responding to all of it is impossible. The fast way to handle this is to summarize their main feeling. If they talk for 5 minutes about their noisy neighbors and the broken fence and the barking dog, you can just respond with, "Wow, that sounds incredibly stressful." You summarize the emotional content of their entire speech in one sentence. It is quick, it is empathetic, and it validates them. You do not need to address the fence and the dog separately. Just hit the core emotion. That sounds frustrating. That sounds amazing. That must be hard. These summary phrases are gold for rapid response. What about when you simply did not hear what they said? Responding quickly when you are confused is important. Do not pretend to understand. That leads to disaster later. But do not just say, "What?" That can sound rude. Have a fast, polite phrase ready. "Sorry, I missed that." Or "One more time, please." Or "It is a bit loud in here, say again." Saying this immediately shows you are eager to listen. If you wait 5 seconds looking confused and then say what it looks like you were not paying attention, immediate clarification is a sign of engagement. Let us revisit the idea of sentence starters. These are the launching pads for your sentences. If you have a good collection of starters, you can launch any rocket. Starters like "the thing is," or "in my opinion," or "to be honest," or "as far as I know." When you have these ready, you can start speaking the moment you have an idea. You do not have to engineer the start of the sentence. You just grab a starter and go. "The thing is" gives you a solid second to figure out what the thing actually is. What I mean is, allows you to rephrase. Drill these starters. Say them out loud until they feel like one syllable. "The thing is," "in my opinion," "to be honest." They should be muscle memory. Let us try a rapid-fire association drill. I will say a word, and I want you to think of the first adjective that comes to your mind. If I say house, you might say big. If I say car, you might say fast. If I say weather, you might say cold. If I say movie, you might say funny. If I say job, you might say hard. Ideally, you are answering in less than a second. This drill helps bypass the translation filter. You are connecting the concept directly to the English descriptive word. If you found yourself translating from your native language, Try doing this drill every day. Just look around your room, point at an object, and say an adjective. Lamp bright, table smooth, floor hard. It trains your brain to label the world in English instantly. Finally, let us talk about the breath of conversation. Conversation has a rhythm like breathing. Inhale, exhale. Listen. Speak. If you disrupt the rhythm by taking too long to respond, the conversation feels suffocated. It is better to give a short, imperfect breath than to hold your breath for perfect grammar. Keep the air moving. If you do not have a full answer, give a half answer. If you do not have an opinion, give a reaction. Just keep breathing. Keep the exchange alive. We have covered the basics and the mechanics, and now we are going to step into the arena of advanced social dynamics. This is where fluency really happens. It is one thing to answer a simple question about your weekend, but it is a completely different challenge to handle a disagreement or negotiate a deal or understand a joke in real time. These situations require not just vocabulary, but social reflexes. You need to be able to read the room and respond with the right tone instantly. In this section, we are going to break down these complex interactions into manageable pieces so you can navigate them with speed and confidence. Let us start with the concept of connectors. Connectors are the glue that holds your sentences together. Words like however and therefore and because and although. But for the purpose of speed, I want you to think of connectors as resting stops. When you are speaking a long sentence, your brain is working hard to generate the next idea. A connector gives you a micro break. If you say, I want to go to the party, but, that word but gives you a split second to think of the reason why you cannot go. It signals to the listener that more is coming so they do not interrupt you. Using connectors effectively prevents you from speaking in short, choppy sentences. It allows you to build a flow. Consider the word actually. We mentioned it before as a filler, but it is also a powerful connector for correction or surprise. If someone says you are from France, right, you can respond, actually, I am from Belgium. The word actually acts as a soft bumper. It prepares the listener for a correction without being rude. It is much faster and softer than saying, no, you are wrong. It is a bridge. Another great speed connector is so. So is used to show a result. It was raining, so I stayed home. If you want to respond quickly to a question about your decisions, use so. It creates a logical chain. Why did you buy that car? Well, it was cheap, so I bought it. The structure is simple. Reason plus so plus result. Having this formula ready in your head speeds up your explanation process. Now let us tackle the difficult topic of conflict and disagreement. When emotions are high or when you are debating a serious topic, your brain can easily freeze up. You might worry about offending someone or using the wrong tone. To respond quickly in these situations, you need a safety phrase. A safety phrase is a polite formula that protects you while you deliver a negative message. For example, if you disagree with a colleague, you can start with all due respect. This phrase buys you time and safety. With all due respect, I think that is a mistake. Another one is I see it differently. This is very neutral and very fast. You do not need to say, I think your opinion is wrong, which is aggressive and takes time to formulate politely. Just say, I see it differently. It is 4 words. It is instant. It keeps the conversation moving without a fight. Negotiation is another area where speed is key. Imagine you are buying something at a market or discussing a deadline with your boss. You need to make counteroffers quickly. The structure here is if, then. If you can lower the price, then I will buy it. If you can give me more time, then I can finish it. The conditional structure is your best friend here. Memorize the frame. If you, I will. This allows you to slot in any verb you need. Negotiation also involves suggesting alternatives. The phrase how about is essential here. How about Tuesday? How about $50? How about we wait? It is short, punchy, and invites a quick response. Do not say, would it be possible for us to consider Tuesday if you are in a rush? Just say, how about Tuesday? Let us move to something that terrifies many learners, which is humor. Reacting to jokes in a second language is hard because humor is cultural and linguistic. Sometimes you understand the words, but not the joke. If everyone laughs and you are silent, it feels awkward. You need a quick reaction strategy. If you do not understand the joke, it is okay to smile and say, I do not get it. Being honest is faster than pretending. But if you do understand, the fastest response is laughter, of course. If you want to add words, simple phrases like, that is hilarious, or you are killing me, or good one are perfect. You do not need to analyze the joke. Just acknowledge it. If someone is being sarcastic, the fast response is often to play along. If it is raining and they say beautiful weather, isn't it? The fast response is, yeah, lovely. You do not need to say, no, it is raining. You match their tone. Now, I want to talk about phone conversations. This is often the final boss for English learners. On the phone, you have no lip reading, no facial expressions, and often bad audio quality. The pressure to respond quickly is higher because silence on the phone feels much longer than silence in person. If there is silence on the phone, people think the line is dead. To survive on the phone, you need audio nods. These are sounds like uh-huh, and right and okay, and I see. You need to make these sounds constantly while the other person is talking. It tells them you are still there. It keeps the connection alive. When it is your turn to speak, if you need time, say it. Say, bear with me a second, I am checking my notes. Do not just go silent. Vocalize your process. I am just looking that up now is a great phrase to keep the airwaves filled while you think. Let us look at a specific grammar structure that helps with speed, and that is the I would structure for advice. If someone tells you about a problem, your brain might try to construct a complex sentence about what they should do. The shortcut is, if I were you, I would memorize this block. If I were you, I would call him. If I were you, I would wait. It eliminates the need to think about modals like ought to or had better. It is a standard template. Another one is the have you tried structure for suggestions? Have you tried restarting it? Have you tried talking to her? These fixed grammar frames are like prefabricated walls. You just slide them into place and the house is built much faster. We also need to discuss the art of the exit. Sometimes the conversation drags on and you need to leave quickly but politely. You cannot just walk away. You need a transition. The fast exit strategy involves the word anyway. You say, anyway, I should let you go, or anyway, I better get back to work. The word anyway signals a shift. It tells the listener the conversation is ending. It is a soft closer. If you wait for a natural pause, it might never come. You have to create the pause with anyway. This gives you control over the time. Being able to end a conversation quickly is just as important as starting one. Let us practice speculation deeply often. We are asked about things we do not know the answer to. Who will win the election? Will it rain tomorrow? Instead of saying, I do not know, and stopping, which kills the conversation, use speculation phrases. I bet, or I reckon, or my guess is. These start the sentence with a personal opinion marker. I bet it will rain. I reckon he will win. My guess is they are late. These are much faster and more conversational than I am not certain, but it is probable that. Keep it loose. Keep it personal. Using I bet makes you sound very natural and confident, even if you are just guessing. Let us go back to the idea of paraphrasing for clarity. Sometimes you answer quickly, but you realize you were not clear. You need to fix it instantly. The phrase "what I mean is" your repair tool. I hate winter. What I mean is I hate the cold. You fix the general statement with a specific one. This allows you to speak first and edit second. Do not be afraid to make a broad statement and then refine it. It is better to get the broad statement out quickly than to say nothing. He is annoying. What I mean is, he talks too loud. This is a perfectly normal conversational pattern. It shows you are thinking out loud. I want to introduce you to the 3 tenses drill. To be a fast responder, you need to jump between past, present, and future instantly. Let us practice. I will give you a verb, and I want you to make 3 quick sentences. Past, present, future. Imagine the verb is eat. You should think I ate pizza yesterday. I am eating lunch. Now I will eat salad tomorrow. Now try with go. I went. I am going. I will go. Now see. I saw. I see. I will see. This drill lubricates the gears of your grammar engine. Often we get stuck in one tense. We are telling a story in the past and someone asks a question about the future and we stumble. Practicing this jumping capability makes you agile. You can switch time zones in your brain without jet lag. Let us talk about intensifiers. Sometimes a simple answer feels too short or weak. You want to add emphasis quickly. Instead of just saying it is hot, you can say it is boiling. But if you cannot remember the word boiling, use an intensifier. It is really hot. It is super hot. It is so hot. The word super is very common in spoken English now. It is super easy. It is super fast. Using these intensifiers adds emotional weight to your quick response. If someone asks, was the movie good, saying yes is boring. Saying it was so good is energetic. It takes the same amount of time but carries much more feeling. Now let us look at the list of 3 definitive rhetorical tricks that native speakers use. When giving examples or reasons, we often list 3 things. It sounds complete. If asked, what do you like about summer, you can respond swiftly by listing 3 things: sun, beach, and ice cream. You do not need full sentences, just the nouns. The rhythm of 3 is very satisfying to the ear. I was tired, hungry, and cold. It tells a whole story in 3 adjectives. If you are stuck, just aim for 3 words. It gives your response a sense of structure and finality. We should also address the echo question for surprise. If someone tells you something shocking, like "I just won the lottery," you can respond by turning their statement into a question. You won the lottery. This is the fastest way to show surprise. You do not need new words. You just repeat their words with a rising intonation. I am moving to Mars. You are moving to Mars. It validates the news and invites them to explain more. It is a mirror technique that builds instant rapport. Let us talk about vague language. Sometimes you cannot remember the specific details, and trying to remember them slows you down. Use vague markers like and stuff or something or things like that. I need to buy apples and bananas and stuff. This covers any other fruit you forgot to mention. Did he say he was angry or something? This covers any emotion you are not sure about. Vague language is not bad language. It is fluent language. It shows you are focusing on the main idea, not the inventory list. It signals to the listener that the exact details are not crucial. Let us consider the scenario of giving instructions. Someone asks you for directions. "Excuse me, where is the station?" You need to respond quickly. Use the imperative form. Go straight. Turn left. Cross the street. You do not need to say, "You need to go straight," and then you should turn left. Just use the verbs. It is faster and clearer. Directness in instructions is seen as helpful, not rude. Take the first right. Stop at the lights. This commands attention and is very easy to process for both you and the listener. Now, a tip for those who get nervous. When you get nervous, your breathing gets shallow and you speak faster but with less clarity. To respond quickly but clearly, you need to ground yourself. Feel your feet on the floor. Take a micro breath before you speak. This split-second pause actually makes you seem more in control. Rushing into a sentence and stumbling is slower than taking 1 second to breathe and speaking clearly. Speed is about flow, not panic. Control the pace. If you need to slow the conversation down, use a phrase like, "Hold on, let me process that." You are the driver of your speech. Let us talk about topic switching. Sometimes you want to change the topic quickly because you are bored or uncomfortable. The fast way to do this is the speaking of bridge. If you are talking about food and you want to talk about your holiday in Italy, you can say, "Speaking of food, the pizza in Italy was amazing." You use the current topic to pivot to the new one. If there is no connection use, by the way. "By the way, did you see the game last night?" This signals a hard turn. Having these steering wheels ready allows you to navigate the conversation where you want it to go. I want to encourage you to listen to how native speakers use question tags. "It is a beautiful day, isn't it?" "You are coming, aren't you?" These tags invite a quick response. If you use them, you make it easier for others to talk to you. But you also need to know how to answer them quickly. If the tag is negative, "You are not going," "Are you?" The answer is, "No, I am not," or "Yes, I am." Be careful with the logic here. If you agree with the negative statement, use "No." "It is not raining, is it?" "No, it is not." This can be tricky. So practicing these quick yes/no responses to tags is a great drill. Let us look at the power of adverbs of frequency. Always, usually. Sometimes, never. Using these words helps you answer questions about your habits instantly. Do you exercise? Sometimes. Do you eat meat? Never. One-word answers with these adverbs are perfectly polite and very fast. They are precise. They give exactly the information requested without fluff. If you want to expand, you can. Sometimes. Mostly on weekends. This builds the answer step by step. Let us imagine a scenario where you have to apologize. You bumped into someone or you forgot a name. Speed is crucial here. A slow apology feels insincere. You need a reflex apology. "I am so sorry." "My apologies. I did not mean to." Memorize these. If you forget a name, say, "I am so sorry, your name has slipped my mind." Do not wait. Do not make excuses. Just apologize and move on. The speed of the apology shows you care. "Oops, sorry about that" is fine for small things. "I am terribly sorry" is for big things. Match the weight of the phrase to the accident. One final advanced tip for this section is anticipating the end. When a sentence is coming to an end, you can hear the intonation drop. That is your cue to breathe in. If you wait until silence to breathe in, you are late. Breathe while they are finishing. This means you are fully oxygenated and ready to launch your sound the moment they stop. It is a biological hack for speed. Watch news anchors or talk show hosts. They breathe while the other person is talking. It is a continuous cycle of air and sound. Now we are going to step into the boardroom. We are going to talk about professional fluency. In the business world, time is money, and responding quickly is often seen as a sign of competence and leadership. If you are in a meeting and you hesitate too long, people might think you are unsure of your facts, even if you are just thinking about the grammar. So this section is dedicated to giving you the verbal armor you need to survive and thrive in high-speed professional environments. We are also going to discuss a crucial training technique called the 3-second rule, which can completely change how you practice. Let us start with the specific pressure of business meetings. Meetings are often chaotic. People talk over each other, topics change rapidly, and there is a lot of jargon. The key to responding quickly in a meeting is the concept of piggybacking. Piggybacking means you do not start a new car. You jump onto a car that is already moving. You connect your idea directly to someone else's idea. This is faster because you do not have to establish a new context. You can use phrases like building on what Sarah said, or to add to that point, or I completely agree with Mark and I would add. These bridges are essential. They allow you to enter the conversation smoothly. You are validating the previous speaker, which makes them listen to you, and you are using their momentum to launch your own point. It is a collaborative speed strategy. Now let us look at the 3-second rule. The rule is simple. When you are practicing, you must say anything within 3 seconds of hearing a question. It does not have to be the answer. It can be a noise. It can be a filler. It can be a question. But you must break the silence. In a professional setting, silence can be misinterpreted. If a client asks, "Can you meet the deadline?" and you are silent for 5 seconds while you calculate the dates, they start to get nervous. They think the answer is no. You need to fill that gap immediately. You can say, "Let me just check the schedule quickly." That is an immediate response. It reassures them. Train yourself to never let the air go dead. If you do not have the answer, say that is a complex issue. Let us break it down. The 3-second rule forces your brain to prioritize engagement over accuracy. One of the most difficult situations in business is handling a question you do not know the answer to. You cannot just say, "I do not know." That sounds junior. You need a professional deferral. This is a phrase that delays the answer while maintaining your authority. You can say, "I want to give you the most accurate number, so let me double check that and get back to you." This is a very fast script to memorize. Let me double check that and get back to you. It flows off the tongue. It shows you are responsible and detailed. Another option is, "I do not have the data in front of me right now, but I can send it over later." These scripts save you from the panic of being put on the spot. You respond instantly by promising a future answer. Let us talk about the cushion. When someone asks a difficult or aggressive question, you need a cushion to soften the blow and give yourself time to think. A cushion is a statement that acknowledges the value of the question. "I am glad you asked that." That is a very important point to raise. "I appreciate you bringing that up." That is the million-dollar question. These cushions are like airbags. They stop the crash. If a boss asks, "Why are sales down?" do not just stutter. Use a cushion. That is a critical question, and we have been analyzing it deeply. The cushion buys you 3 seconds to organize your reasons. It also makes you sound calm and in control rather than defensive. Now consider the summary start. In business, people value brevity. To speak fast, you should start with the summary and then give the details if asked. This is the opposite of storytelling where you build up to the climax. In business, give the climax first. We miss the target because of the supply chain. Boom. Answer given. If they want to know which part of the supply chain, they will ask. This is called the bottom line upfront or bluff method. It makes you a faster responder because you are not trying to tell the whole history. You are just giving the headline. Practice answering questions with one sentence. How is the project going? It is on track. Do we need more budget? Not at this stage. Short, direct answers are the hallmark of a confident professional. Let us discuss the "let me play this back to you" technique for clarification. In a complex negotiation, sometimes you are not sure if you understood correctly. To respond quickly without admitting confusion, you can say, "Let me just play this back to ensure we are aligned." Then you summarize what you think they said. This is a power move. It shows you are listening actively, and it gives you a chance to verify the information without asking, "What did you say?" It keeps the professional rhythm going. So what you are saying is, "We need to cut costs by 10%. Exactly. Great. It is a fast confirmation loop. What about interruptions in a meeting? We touched on this socially, but professionally, it is different. If someone interrupts you in a meeting, you need to hold your ground without being aggressive. A great fast phrase is, "I will come to that in a moment." It acknowledges their interruption but puts it in a parking lot. "I will come to that in a moment if I may just finish this point." It is polite but firm. It tells the room that you are still the driver of the bus. Another phrase is, "Let us park that idea for now." This is very common in business English. It means let us save it for later. It is a quick way to stop a tangent and get back to the main topic. Let us talk about signposting for presentations. When you are presenting, you need to guide the audience. If you lose your place or forget a word, signposts can save you. Moving on to the next point, turning our attention to, as I mentioned earlier, these phrases are automatic pilots. If your brain freezes, just say, "moving on," and look at your next slide. It covers the mistake. It keeps the flow. Signposting also helps the audience process information faster because you are telling them where the information belongs. Firstly, secondly, finally. These are simple, but they structure your speed. Now I want to address the email voice versus the speaking voice. Many learners write better than they speak, so they try to speak like they write. They try to use words like "furthermore" and "nevertheless" and the "in conversation." This slows you down. It is too heavy. In spoken business English, even in formal meetings, we prefer lighter connectors. Instead of "furthermore," use "also" or "plus." Instead of "nevertheless," use "still" or "even so." Instead of regarding use about the budget. Is much faster than regarding the financial allocation. Simplify your register. You do not need to sound like a legal contract to sound professional. You need to be clear. Clarity is speed. Let us look at the hypothetical drill. In business, we often plan for the future. You need to be fast with hypotheticals. What happens if... The structure is, if X happens, we will do Y. Practice this drill. What if the client cancels? If the client cancels, we will find a new one. What if the price goes up? If the price goes up, we will renegotiate. What if the software crashes? If the software crashes, we will use the backup. Notice the rhythm. It is a reflex. You do not need to think about the philosophy of the problem, just the immediate action. This action-oriented speaking style is highly valued. It shows you are a problem solver. Let us talk about softening bad news quickly. You have to tell a client you cannot do something. Speed is important, but tone is everything. You cannot just say no. You use the wish structure. I wish we could help, but I wish it were possible, but. This is faster than a long explanation. I wish I could be there, but I have a conflict. It expresses the desire to say yes while saying no. It is a very efficient emotional shortcut. Another one is unfortunately. Unfortunately, that is not in our scope. Starting with unfortunately sets the tone immediately so the listener is prepared for the no. I want to introduce you to the concept of chunking for numbers. Business involves a lot of numbers: dates, prices, percentages. Saying $1,254 takes a long time. Chunk it. $1,254, $2,025, $3.5 mil. Native speakers cut corners with numbers constantly. Learn these shortcuts. If a meeting is at 2:30, say 2:30, not 2:30. If a price is $1,500, say $1,500. These small efficiencies add up. They make you sound like an insider. If you are reading a phone number group, the digits 555-6321. Don't say them one by one evenly. Grouping them gives them rhythm and makes them easier to say and remember. Let us consider the elevator pitch. This is the ultimate test of speed. Can you explain your job or your project in 30 seconds? This requires preparation. You should write down a 30-second summary of who you are and what you do. Then practice it until you can say it in your sleep. I am a project manager for a tech firm specializing in AI. That is your core identity. When you have this ready, you never hesitate when meeting new colleagues. You do not fumble. You just press play on the tape. Having a prepared intro is one of the biggest confidence boosters for responding quickly in networking situations. We should also talk about modal verbs for diplomacy. In business, we rarely give direct orders. We use modals to make suggestions. You must do, this is aggressive. You might want to do this is diplomatic. We should probably check this is fast and soft. Could you possibly send that is a polite command. Mastering could, should, would, and might allows you to navigate hierarchy quickly. If you are speaking to a boss, use might. We might consider changing the date. It is a suggestion, not a demand. It is safer, and therefore you can say it faster without worrying about being fired. Let us look at the cleft sentence for emphasis. This is a bit advanced grammar, but very useful for speed because it focuses the listener's attention. What we need is more time. Instead of saying, we need more time, saying what we need is more time underlines the main point. The thing that worries me is the cost. The reason I am calling is to discuss the contract. These structures. The thing is, the reason is, what I mean is, are called cleft sentences. They act as a spotlight. They tell the listener, hey, listen to this next part. It is important. They are great for taking control of a drifting meeting. Now let us talk about confirming understanding quickly. When someone gives you instructions, you want to show you got it fast. Use phrases like understood, noted, will do, consider it done. On it is a fantastic American English phrase. Boss says, send that email. You say on it. 2 words. It means I am doing it right now. It is dynamic and energetic. Consider it done is very reassuring. It means you do not have to worry about this anymore. These short confirmation bursts are essential for a fast-paced office. What about when you need to correct someone in a meeting? This is delicate. You need to be fast but not offensive. Use the yes in technique again but twist it. That is true, however. You are right about X, but we also need to look at Y. Acknowledging their truth first makes your correction slide in easier. I agree with the goal, but I think the method needs adjustment. This is the agree and pivot strategy. It is much faster than saying, "No, I disagree with you because," which creates resistance. Let us practice giving opinions with adverbs. Instead of, "I think it is good," which is weak, use adverbs to speed up the impact. It is surprisingly good. It is potentially risky. It is absolutely essential. It is highly likely. These collocations, highly likely, absolutely essential, stick together like magnets. Learn them as pairs. Do not learn likely and highly separately. Learn highly likely as one item. When you speak, it comes out as one item. This is the secret to native-like speed. We speak in chunks, not words. Let us talk about the Zoom or video call lag. In modern business, there is often a technical delay. This makes responding quickly even harder because you might talk over someone. The strategy here is to use visual cues. Raise your hand slightly or nod vigorously before you unmute. This signals I'm about to speak. Also accept that overlapping will happen. If you both start speaking at once, the fast response is "go ahead" or "after you." Do not get into a cycle of "no, you go, no, you go." Just say, "Please go ahead and mute yourself." Decisiveness is speed. Now, I want to address the feedback sandwich. When giving feedback quickly, use the positive, negative, positive structure. Great effort. The font is a bit small, but overall, very clean. You can deliver this in 10 seconds. It is balanced and professional. If you only give the negative, the font is too small, it sounds harsh. If you only give the positive, it is not helpful. The sandwich allows you to be critical and kind simultaneously and quickly. Let us look at time fillers that sound smart. If you really need time to think in a meeting, you can say, "Let us take a step back and look at the big picture." This is a classic business phrase. It means I need a moment to think, or let us contextualize this. These phrases make you sound strategic even if you are just stalling. How does this align with our Q4 goals is another great stalling question. It forces everyone else to think while you catch up. We should also discuss the power of analogies. If you are trying to explain a complex technical concept and you are struggling for words, use an analogy. It is like a library. It is like a traffic jam. It is like building a house. Analogies are shortcuts to understanding. You do not need technical vocabulary if you have a good analogy. The server is like a waiter. It can only carry so many plates. Everyone understands that immediately. It saves you 5 minutes of technical explanation. Let us do a drill on business idioms. Native speakers use these all the time to speed up communication. To get the ball rolling means to start. To touch base means to contact someone. To keep someone in the loop means to update them. It is a no-brainer means it is an easy decision. To cut to the chase means to get to the point. If someone says, "Let us cut to the chase," you need to know immediately they want the summary. If you say, "What does that mean? The moment is lost," learn the top 20 business idioms and your listening speed will double. You will not get stuck analyzing the literal meaning of ball or chase. You will just hear start and point. Finally, let us talk about ending a meeting on time. The fast wrap-up. I am conscious of time. This is the magic phrase. I am conscious of everyone's time. So let us wrap up. Then summarize. Action items. John does X, Sarah does Y. Thanks, everyone. Be the person who summarizes and closes. It shows leadership. It requires you to be listening and synthesizing the whole time. We've traveled a long way together from the basic mechanics of fillers to the complex social dance of negotiation and the sharp edge of business English. Now we arrive at the heart of the matter. We are going to talk about emotional fluency and integrating English into your very soul, because ultimately, speed does not come from a textbook. Speed comes from feeling. When you drop a hammer on your toe, you do not translate the pain into English, you just scream. That is the level of immediacy we want to achieve with your language skills. In this final session, we are going to look at how to handle the fastest, most intense conversations of all, which are arguments, relationships, and deep emotional exchanges. We will also talk about how to build an English personality that lives alongside your native personality. Let us start with emotional reactivity. Real life is full of surprises. If a friend tells you they are getting married, or if they tell you they lost their job, you need to react instantly. A delay here is fatal. If you pause for 5 seconds after hearing bad news, it looks cold. You need exclamations ready in your holster. For good news, you need phrases like, "No way," "Get out, that is incredible," "I am so happy for you." Notice the energy. "Get out" does not mean leave the room. It means I cannot believe it. Using these slang phrases shows you are culturally in tune. For bad news, you need, "Oh my gosh, that is heartbreaking. I am so sorry to hear that. What a nightmare." You do not need to construct a sentence like "I feel very sad about this information." You just say, "What a nightmare." It is fast, it is punchy, and it connects emotionally. Now let us navigate the tricky waters of conflict. Arguing in a second language is the ultimate test of speed because adrenaline is pumping and your brain is in fight or flight mode. You do not have time to check your grammar when you are angry. You need short, sharp phrases. If someone is being unfair, you say, "That is not fair." If someone is interrupting, you say, "Let me finish." If you want to stop the fight, say, "Let us take a breath. Calm down. I do not want to fight." These are your shields. On the offensive side, if you need to express frustration, use "I am fed up with this." "I have had enough." "This is ridiculous." Memorize these as chunks. Do not analyze the grammar of "fed up." Just know that it means you are finished. Having these emotional weapons ready allows you to stand up for yourself without reverting to your native language, which is what usually happens when we get angry. On the flip side, let us talk about love and dating. Flirting is all about speed. It is a game of tennis, quick volleys. If someone pays you a compliment, you need to return it or accept it playfully. If someone says, "You look great," do not just say, "Thank you." Say, "You do not look so bad yourself." Or, "I bet you say that to all the girls." This is called banter. Banter is fast, playful teasing. To be good at banter, you need to be willing to take risks. You need to use question tags. "You are trouble, aren't you?" "You think you are funny, don't you?" These little tags add a flirtatious challenge to the sentence. Speed is attractive. Confidence is attractive. Do not worry about being perfect. Worry about being present and playful. This brings us to the concept of the English self. Many bilingual people say they feel like a different person when they speak English. Maybe you are shyer in your native language, but you feel bolder in English. Or maybe you are more formal in your native language, but more relaxed in English. Embrace this. Allow your English Jessica, or English Tom, to be a slightly different character. This character might be faster. This character might not care as much about mistakes. This character is a performer. When you switch into English, imagine you are putting on a costume. This psychological trick can help you overcome the fear of judgment. You are not being judged, the character is performing. This detachment allows for greater speed because you are less self-conscious. Let us discuss the immersion ecosystem. To respond quickly, your brain needs to be swimming in English, even when you are not speaking. You need to narrate your life. We touched on this, but I want you to go deeper. Talk to your pets in English. Talk to your plants in English. Sing in the shower in English. The goal is to reduce the switching cost. If you spend 23 hours a day in your native language and 1 hour in English, the switch is heavy and slow. If you sprinkle English throughout your whole day, the switch becomes a toggle that is always ready to flip. Listen to English radio while you do the dishes. Do not focus on it, just let it wash over you. This keeps the rhythm of the language in your ear, so when you need to speak, the rhythm is already there. Now I want to address advanced troubleshooting. What happens when you crash? You are in the middle of a sentence and you hit a wall. You have no idea how to finish the thought. The fast response is to abandon ship. Do not try to save the sentence. Stop, say, wait, scratch that, or let me start over. It is better to kill a dying sentence and start a fresh one than to let it drag on in pain. I was going to... You know what? Never mind. The point is, this is a very natural thing to do. Native speakers do it all the time. We get lost in our own thoughts. Admitting you are lost is faster than pretending you are not. I lost my train of thought. Say that. It gives you a moment to laugh and reset. Let us look at cultural references. Sometimes speed comes from shared knowledge. If someone says it is like Groundhog Day, they mean it is repeating over and over. If you know the reference, you can just nod and laugh. You do not need them to explain. You do not need to know every movie, but knowing the big ones helps. If you do not know the reference, be quick to ask, is that a movie? Is that a song? Do not let the reference fly over your head without catching it. Catching it and asking is a form of fast interaction. We should also talk about the power of silence. It sounds contradictory in a lesson about speed, but sometimes the most powerful fast response is a deliberate silence, followed by a short word. If someone says something stupid, you can look at them for 2 seconds and say, "Really?" That is a complete conversation. You do not need a paragraph. You use silence as a highlighter pen. Then you dropped one word. This requires confidence. It shows you are not rushing to please. You are in control of the time. Speed does not mean rushing. Speed means efficiency. Sometimes silence is the most efficient tool. Let us integrate the empathy bridge. When people vent to you, they do not always want advice. They want to be heard. The fastest way to respond is validation. I hear you. I get it. I feel you. That sucks. Totally. These are the bridges. You are walking across the bridge to their side. If you try to give advice, well, you should probably... That takes time and mental effort. Validation is instant. I get it. It is powerful. Practice these short empathy markers. They make you a great friend and a fast conversationalist. Now let us do a master drill called the trigger response. I am going to give you a series of emotional triggers, and I want you to think of your go-to phrase immediately. Trigger: someone steps on your foot. Response: ouch or watch it. Trigger you: drop your phone. Response: oh no or damn. Trigger you: see a cute puppy. Response: aw or so cute. Trigger you: win a prize. Response: yes or awesome. Trigger: you are confused. Response: huh or wait, what? These reflexive sounds are the foundation of fluency. They are the animal noises of the language. You need to map your emotions to these English sounds so that when you feel pain, you say ouch, not yay, or whatever you say in your native language. When you sneeze, you say achoo. When you hear a sneeze, you say bless you instantly. These reflexes anchor you in the English reality. Let us talk about metaphors for speed. Metaphors package complex ideas into simple images. We are in the same boat. This is faster than saying we are both facing the same difficult situation with the same resources. It is a piece of cake. Faster than it is very easy. Time flies. Faster than time is passing very quickly. Learn the top 50 idioms and metaphors. They are compression algorithms for language. They allow you to transmit more data in less time. He is a loose cannon. Everyone knows what that means immediately. You do not have to describe his unpredictable behavior. I want to revisit the future you. Visualizing your success is a key part of speed. If you see yourself as a slow learner, you will speak slowly. If you visualize yourself as a dynamic, fast speaker, you will unconsciously speed up. Before a meeting or a party, close your eyes for 10 seconds. See yourself laughing. See yourself interrupting politely. See yourself handling a mistake with a smile. This mental rehearsal primes your brain. Athletes do it. Musicians do it. Language learners should do it too. You are an athlete of the mouth. Let us discuss the journaling for speed technique. Writing is usually slow, but you can use it to speed up speaking. Set a timer for 5 minutes. Write as fast as you can. Do not stop to correct spelling. Just let the thoughts pour out onto the page. This trains the connection between your brain and your language output. It bypasses the editor. When you read it back later, you will see mistakes. That is fine. The goal of the exercise is flow. If you can write fast, you can speak fast. It clears the pipes. What about singing? Singing along to fast songs is the ultimate workout. Rap music or fast pop songs. Try to keep up with the lyrics. You will trip. You will stumble. But your mouth muscles are getting a workout that they never get in normal conversation. It forces you to link words. It forces you to use reductions. You physically cannot sing a fast song if you pronounce every letter. You have to say gonna and wanna and lemmy. Singing teaches you the rhythm of speed. It is also fun and releases dopamine, which helps learning. Let us look at the question flip. When you answer a question, try to flip the grammar of the question into your answer. Where did you go? I went. What have you seen? I have seen. What would you do? I would do. The grammatical clue is in the question. Listen for the auxiliary verb. Do, did, have, will, would. That is your key. If you hear will, you use will. If you hear, did you use the past tense? This is a matching game. You do not need to invent the grammar. You just match the color of the card the other person played. We are nearing the end of our journey. I want to leave you with a philosophy of good enough. The enemy of speed is the desire for the perfect word. The good enough word is available right now. The perfect word is buried somewhere in your memory. Choose the good enough word. If you want to say exquisite, but you can only remember beautiful, say beautiful. If you want to say exhausted, but can only remember tired, say tired. Do not sacrifice the timing of the interaction for the precision of the vocabulary. Connection happens in the moment. If you wait, the moment is gone. Be brave enough to be simple. You have learned about fillers like well and you know. You have learned about echoes. You have learned about fixed phrases. You have learned about the physical mechanics of linking. You have learned about the psychology of confidence. You have learned how to handle business meetings and arguments and jokes. You have a massive toolkit now. But a toolkit is useless if it stays in the box. You have to take the tools out and use them. You will drop them. You will use the wrong tool sometimes. That is part of the craft. Your mission starting today is to be a fast responder. Accept that you will make mistakes. Embrace the messiness of real conversation. When someone speaks to you, lean in, nod, smile, make a sound, throw a phrase back, keep the ball in the air. You are not being graded. There is no teacher with a red pen. There is only another human being waiting to connect with you. They do not care about your prepositions. They care about your attention. Think about why you started learning English. Was it to pass a test? Maybe. But mostly it was to connect with the world, to travel, to work, to make friends, to understand movies. All of these things require speed. They require flow. They do not require perfection. You are ready. You have the knowledge. Now you just need the reps. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for spending this time with me. This has been a long, deep dive, and your attention span is impressive. If you have listened to this entire masterclass, you are in the top 1% of learners. You have the discipline to succeed. I believe in you. I know you can do this. If you found this series helpful, please subscribe to English in Advance. Share this podcast with a friend who is struggling to speak. Leave us a comment and tell us which technique you are going to use today. Are you going to use the 3-second rule? Are you going to use the feedback sandwich? Let me know. I love reading your success stories. I am Jessica. This has been your masterclass on how to respond quickly in English. Go out there and make some noise. Speak up. Speak fast. Speak freely. Until next time, keep practicing and take care. Bye for now.